you doing?
How are you, sir?
Doing well, thank you.
Good morning.
How are you?
Been better.
You okay?
I on my way to my car yesterday here about 1:30. I was parking a lot. I pulled my ankle and where did I go down? And
I'm just
I'm hurting. I'm debating whether to go to the doctor and have my ankle x-rayed. I'm gonna wait 1 more day because it's better than it was last night. I could hardly walk last night.
Then it's not so bad. I did that and then was traveling with a guy for work. And the next 3 days it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm just coming off it now.
I think I remember you, yeah. Well, 3 years ago, I broke a metatarsal bone. I went 2
Me
weeks
too.
and didn't know it was broken.
I did that
And-
years ago, and once that happens, it's weak,
Yeah,
they say.
so I'm just gonna wait another day. If it gets better, then I'm not gonna worry about it. It's just probably a sprain, but it just, and as I think.
You have it wrapped?
No,
That helps. I have a wrap in the car if you're.
well, I thought she said, because I have a boot still from my old one, from my old brake, and it's a left leg still, but what hurts more than anything is when I went down, I mean, I've got huge, big abrasions on my knee, but I went down and I think I stretched, and I hurt so bad in here. Not I didn't land on it, I just
Right.
stretched the muscles.
What I did is something, because I didn't want to break the foot. So
Right.
I kind of allowed myself to fall, and it was coming off a brick stoop onto brick.
Uh-huh.
And I also just planted this lovely bush, and I didn't want to land in it.
Oh, well, then yours must have been very slow
So I
and graceful. This was
turned-
so fast, I couldn't even think about that.
I actually did seem like it was in slow motion, it was strange. But it kind of turned and avoided this bush and ended up on this curve, and
Oh, gosh.
it was.
And I was determined to get here. I was like, I really want to see this class. I don't want to do it online. Is Michael doing this one?
No, I'm not sure. He's here, so I would imagine. How's Melbourne, please?
Melbourne Park is great. A lot of turnover. All of a sudden. 2 sold units that people just moved into, and 4 rental units that people just moved into. So there have been a whole bunch of new cars there recently.
My son moved out.
Yeah, there was a group that did move out of a unit I think I know which one your son, which unit he was in.
I think they were considered good neighbors. There was a bunch of people that, he took care of. I know that. There's an elderly gal that, and they were quiet.
Yeah, for the most part, everybody's quiet except for the two families was, I still understand why families would move into an area where there's no grass really to play in, there's no playground, there's no place for them to run their body, you know, just when you have kids.
That's right.
Maybe it was just all they could find, I don't know what the husbands do, but there are two families with at least 3 or 4 kids. And when they get, and of course, school starts tomorrow, but I was also home studying, taking my real estate class, and they were so loud and screaming. They can't just play, they were screaming.
Yeah, I agree. I really like it there, though.
Oh, I love it. I mean, it's so convenient. I guess it's just gonna be you and me today. I thought John Green would be here, but I don't see him.
To get him going just for,
He's doing it for fun. Shouldn't your son find another place?
no, he's temporarily with me. There was a couple of things that came up. Their landlord decided not to, I think they might be one of the people that sold it. I'm not really sure.
I don't think so. And I think I know what, if it's the Fong, she's the owner of that. I don't think
Well, they were
she's sold
dealing
it.
with a property manager, so they didn't.
Oh, okay.
Be right with you.
All righty.
They were dealing with a property manager.
Oh, okay, yeah,
I think they were next door to the people that you said had a lot of toys and stuff.
Yes.
Just on the front.
Yeah.
They were facing it, they're the ones to the right.
Yeah.
And they were 3 professionals. My son, a student, a working student, the young man was a really cool guy, but is a chiropractor. And then there was a young gal that was a med student in there.
uh-huh.
And they were there for 2 years. I think 2 years, maybe 3. He was there for a while. It was good. He got towed out of there twice. So it took him a while to learn the parking. We have that same issue, parking.
Right, you mentioned that.
Drives me nuts.
It's just a shame that our place didn't, the way they set it up, the amount of units they put in, there just wasn't enough space to accommodate.
Yeah, same with us. There is some areas that have plenty of parking and then others that are tight. And I'm really curious of why that wasn't more of a priority.
Yeah, exactly. Get as many units as you can. More
Well,
money.
that's certainly how the new ones are. You know, one of the things I love about River Run is the green space.
Right,
There's green space
Right.
everywhere. And behind us, in front of us. But
Yeah.
like Affinity, I went to a couple of townhouses, which is
yes,
something that can soil. And I understand that need for margin and all that. but
right.
I don't know.
What are you talking about?
Townhomes. She's in Melbourne and I'm in River Run. And we were talking about parking and.
Not their house.
It seems like the newer townhouses, they're building every inch so they can be sold and there's no consideration for green space.
Well, I mean, interestingly enough, Stonefield, Christopher Companies, they didn't have any, and then they weren't selling, and so they ended up creating, although not much,
Right,
but
right.
creating more than they were gonna put in there.
I thought it looked like they weren't selling very well.
But, yeah, well, and quite honestly, we had the opportunity to market those a couple years ago when they first came to town, and they wanted to be in the mid-4s. And Keith and I said, she's not gonna happen.
Right.
You know, yeah, you got the convenience of Stonefield and you're not that far away from the university, but it's just not gonna happen. They didn't start selling until they got down to the mid-3s. So
Is the
they're,
quality there? I haven't been in one, I mean, and it's,
yeah, I mean, depending on who you talk to. But, you know, they've done better now that they've gotten the mid-3s because you then are in a number where people who want to have a place to come down and stay for football weekends or basketball or,
right,
you
right.
know, that kind of thing. It's convenient to obviously the restaurants and movies and,
Right.
Scott Stadium and.
but it's not downtown.
Right.
That's right.
Hardly no parking.
Oh my God, no views. I mean, you're looking out over a, you know, a parking lot where you're looking out over an old
You can't even
strip
create
shopping center.
Right.
Yeah, there's no,
Yours are well built, by the way. I had a builder go that because I considered one of them.
Right.
And he said it was well built.
Well, I feel it's sturdy. I don't hear neighbor. I mean, Tim, if he's maybe put a nail in the wall, I might hear it. So from that standpoint, you can walk in my door and look at my closet there and you can, one day actually, yeah, look at that. I mean, it's crooked. It's not even level. It's not. And the couple in the corner, she's a realtor, Long and Foster, and they fought for a while and they had an inspection, Sally Giltanen.
okay. And Susie Pace lives in there too, doesn't
She
she?
did.
Oh,
She
did?
did. Yeah. Oh, yeah. A couple of years ago.
Oh, where'd she go?
She's over behind us on Cutler.
Okay.
Cute little brick ranch on
Oh,
Cutler.
okay.
And she's, I think, having settling issues. None of their windows, when they had blinds and stuff put
Oh,
in,
my God.
yeah, they're on the corner unit on the, you know.
Who
Yeah.
built those?
Rick. Rick Carter,
Oh, okay.
Southern.
Yeah, yeah,
Homes.
Southern Homes, yeah.
Yeah.
Richard's now running that, his son.
Oh, they were still there, because I
Yeah,
never seen their sign.
Still
or any
around.
advertising.
They've shrunk down, but they're still in Richard's
Okay,
running.
okay.
Is that who was here last Wednesday? Wasn't that Southern Home?
No, that's Southern
Southern
Development.
Development.
This is Southern Homes.
Oh,
They have an office right there at Route 20. His dad built a lot of stuff, and then Richard's kind of taken over.
that's good.
All right, Yona's not here. Yona's not here. She said she's on her way. I'm not trying to throw her under the bus, but what she told me that she wanted to do today is to follow up on what we talked about last week. Of course, I left a little early, so and you guys went long,
Yes.
which is great. But she said that that she wanted to continue the discussion in regards to pricing, I think.
Mhm.
And so I copied this just again as a reminder about the roadmap for success that you all have. Don't forget that you have that. If you have lost it, just email Megan, and Megan will send you a new copy with. And there's usually updated stuff. Like I just was in there doing this and realized that some of the things say 2016, and they're okay because it's just examples of,
Right.
marketing and things like that. But it'd be nice to have them change so that it's up to the right date. So I'll send Megan something about that. But all this is in here. So when you're thinking about listing or thinking about a buyer, certainly get with me, get with Yona, but also go to the roadmap for success and open houses and business planning, and all those things are in there to kind of help you, muddle through what it is you're trying to do. I spent yesterday up in Northern Virginia at the Buffini conference with Yona and Keith and Julie and Jerry. Really good day. Game changers was the topic. Joe Nigo did the first hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes. It was just blocking and tackling, and it was really just about what you need to be doing to, especially on the listing side.
Mhm.
And I just think that it's so critical right now because there are not enough listings. So if you can be confident enough to go out there and prospect for listings, it's a great time to do it because there are not enough on the market. And if you position yourself in the right places and in the right price ranges, you've got just, if you get one, it's going to sell quickly. Not quite as quickly as it would have a few months ago.
Right.
It has slowed down a little bit, but still quickly. And off of that, oftentimes those people need to buy something else. And also, if you're in the right price range, in the sort of lower first, second time home buyer price range, you can get a move up. You get the listing sold, but you also get the buyers who are interested in those that you can then work with. This weekend was a good example. We had 3 open houses, one in Gray Rock, Caitlin, one in Midway, their new listing, which they've got 2 contracts on now already.
No way,
Yeah.
really? Wow.
So both contracts have escalation clauses in them, so he's gonna do well. Just why I was a couple minutes late, because I spent the last half an hour on phone with Devin,
Mhm.
just making sure that we dotted our i's across the t's to make sure we do that right and we don't communicate anything incorrectly. And then Mike had, but she had good traffic as well.
Yeah.
And Mike was in Briarwood, and he said he had, several people through. And interesting enough, just again, for your own information, signs, internet, ad, sort of third. Third of the people coming through finding it on the internet, whether it's on car.com or Zillow or Realtor.com or whatever the case may be. People seeing the signs, right? And then the advertising and the open house. Like Caitlin didn't even have it advertised in the progress. In fact, I'm not sure Caitlin or Bevan had it advertised in the progress. I think about it.
No.
And both of them had good traffic through it. So people are finding them in other places. It used to be that Sunday paper was the only place you found.
Mhm.
Not anymore. So just really important. So before I kind of go into this, did you, coming out of last week, I can't remember, Mike, were you here last week?
I was.
Okay. I'm not trying to hold you accountable to that, but I left early, but do you remember kind of where you left it? Because I'm happy to pick up, or we can just, we can kind of go through this as well.
We talked about, I think where we.
And let me just go on
Your
public.
pre-appointment, actually.
Let me go on public record of one, because we're live streaming this obviously, and 2, it's on YouTube. You notice the stalwarts here, Michael and Logan are here. That's the first thing, is that they're here. The second thing is, Susan was the week before, Yona was last week. This room was filled. When Guthrie's talking, we got 2 people. So, it is what it is. No.
Maybe the best too.
Well, and again, I think, Tuesdays, especially agent helping agents, it's great when the agents come in, because you
I
really
agree.
learn from them, real life, and I'm not out there listing and selling every day. So, okay, so, well, let's just walk through this, and then when Yona gets here, she can help us in regards to the questions. Let me just say this, in regards to the seller net sheet, because I know that was one of the things you guys talked about. You can reach out to Katie West and ask Katie to send you just a sample of a seller closure statement. In fact, you know what? I'll do that and I'll send it to you. Because a lot of that stuff is the same, right? It's just difference in regards to the pricing and that kind of thing. But I'll get her to send me or maybe I'll just grab one out of our closed files. And I'll send it to you, just gonna see. But my rule of thumb, just for the sake of discussion, is if it's a $400,000 sale, I add 3% in closing costs to that number. So you got 6% in commission and 2.5% to 3% in closing costs. So just if somebody says, how much am I gonna get? First question you ask is what?
What do you got?
Exactly. How much you got?
Mhm.
And, oh, by the way, does that include a home equity? Do you have a second trust? Do you have a home equity line? Because people forget that they have a home equity line that got to be paid off when they sell the house, because they just had it there, they use it for different things, or they don't really think about it as their mortgage, right? So the first question you ask is, what do you owe? And so let's just, for the sake of discussion, say they owe $300,000. All right? So you say to them, just rule of thumb, all right, we got a $400,000 sale. You owe $300,000. So from my standpoint, let's use the number conservatively, 9%. 6% in commissions, and we'll talk about how to dialogue with this. 6% in commissions, 3% in closing costs. That's going to be at the high end, unless you pay any concessions to a buyer, but let's assume that you don't. So you got 9% of 400,000, 36,000. Subtract that from 400. I'm a PE major, but I know that's $364,000. Minus 300, you're going to have a check for $64,000 when you walk away from the table. Approximately. I mean,
And you're assuming the seller is paying closing costs.
Oh, yeah, the seller is gonna pay costs. Other things that the seller has to pay, grantor's tax, they're gonna have some interest payments that they're gonna pay, and they'll get some of that money back. They're gonna, I'll send you, you'll see the things, but basically, I always say I want to err on the high side. So it could be less, but it shouldn't be any more than 9%. And the person says, okay. Now, as far as the commission is concerned, that's where, when you're having that conversation, obviously, when you're having that conversation, the seller says, well, tell me about the 6%. Why do I have to pay 6%? So one of the great objection handling techniques is you're not going to pay me 6%, you're going to pay me 3%. Well, what do you mean? Well, why is it 6? Because you're going to pay a buyer and their agent 3% to bring you that buyer that gives you an acceptable offer that gets you your $64,000. Please understand that from the get-go, that 6% is split in half. And the reason it's split in half is if we offer anything less than that, then we're not doing a service to you as the seller, because that, and you've got to be careful because commissions are negotiable. But the bottom line is the way you communicate it is, if I'm offering buyers and agents out there less than 3%, there are other people out there that are offering more. And there's going to be a reason for somebody taking their buyers to this house over here versus yours, and I don't want to put you in that place. So that 6% immediately gets split in half. So now we're talking about 3. And let's talk about that 3. The marketing, the this, the that. And what needs to happen in that situation is that and it's hard for a seller to understand this, but this is not just about you, right? This is, good morning. This is not just about you. This is about us being a strong company that is going to bring you, do the marketing that you need to do, that is going to have the lights on, that's going to have all the marketing materials and things that I need to help you get this house sold. And I've got Chris Sanders, and I've got, my broker, and I've got staff, and I've got the power of our advertising scenario to get you in the most places, right? So the key is to as quick as you can get away from 6% and get it to 3%, right? And it's the same thing with the for sale by owner. You're talking for sale by owner, it's the opposite. Because what happens is when you talk for sale by owner, they say, yes, I'm trying to sell a house. I say, well, if an agent brings you a buyer, you're going to pay a commission. They say, yes. Well, how much do you pay? Well, I'll pay 3%. Because they've read the articles and blah, blah, blah. Well, it's the same thing with the opposite. Now you're saying, well, all we need to talk about is how I'm worth 3% more than that. Because if you list with me, you're already saying that when we bring you a buyer for another agent, you're going to pay 3%. So now let's talk about what my 3%, you pay me an additional 3%, what that's going to do for you as a for sale by owner. Right. And it's to me, it's very simple in the fact that if you build a relationship with them, and okay, Gordon, again, you and I had this conference yesterday, I don't know if you realize this, and I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but the things that they communicate are exactly the same things I'm communicating. It's just different words. He talked about this, I have to bring my notebook in, but he talked about the confidence and the assurance.
Confidence, conviction, and, I'm sorry, that's the reason I'm late.
Yeah.
I was reading this morning, got lost, I was just so inspired,
Conviction equals confidence, and confidence equals assurance, or, anyway, the point being is, how much do you hear me? Build rapport, gain credibility, show people you care. These guys are saying the exact same thing to you. Now, it may be that I learned it from them 20 years ago. I'm not trying to say I'm all bad. But what I am saying is you guys are getting this every day. These people are spending $199 to be there for a day, to learn these things, and you guys are getting it every day through me, and that kind of thing. But the point being is, in this situation, if I can build rapport with that for sale by owner, and I can gain credibility with them, and I can show them I care, now it's just about 3%. This 3% is already gone. They've already said they're going to pay it. So now And it can be just as much as that I'm gonna negotiate in a way that's gonna make you that much money. Forget the marketing and the things I'm gonna do to negotiate. I'm gonna negotiate because the one thing that's true about for sale by owners is the fact that they're for sale by owner for what reason?
They don't say no.
Thank
They think they're gonna
They
save
are,
money.
yes, they think,
Right?
right.
They
right.
think they're gonna save money. So if I can show them statistically that for sale by owners sell 95% of their list price, because guess what? The buyers coming in know that they're trying to save money on the commission, so they're making a lower offer, based on that, right? So let's just, and I'm making these numbers up, but let's just assume that for sale by owners sell for 95% of their list price. It's probably lower than that because most for sale by owners are higher priced than they need to be. But let's just assume that. And we're 98% sale list price to sales price, right? That alone, I can say, Logan, here's the real life. For sale by owners sell for 95% of what you put up. So you got it on the market for 400,000. It's probably going to sell, as a for sale by owner, you're probably going to sell for 380, right? Whereas if you list with me, 2% is going to sell for 392. I'm free. You're getting me for free because you would have accepted this or you would have gotten this, whereas I'm going to get you this. And if I get that, then literally I've paid for myself by getting you a higher price. Or even if it's halfway, I pay half of my way for you. So you see, it's one thing on the listing side, you're splitting it away from 3%. On the for sale by side, you're doing the exact opposite. You're bringing it to that. You're just removing a big number off of their plate. So now it's a much more bite-sized, situation. So anyway,
So is one of the bullets there that you bring a negotiation skill that should increase the amount by 3%?
yeah. So here's a good example.
That's a very good analogy, yes.
So here's a good example. Like you're saying to me, I want you to reduce your commission, right? I want my house on the market for 400,000. I get the fact that, you're worth what you want to pay, but I want you to reduce your commission. There are two things that I would say to you. Say, Mike, let me ask you a question. If you were me, and let's put it this way, if I'm the seller, you're the agent, and I tell you, you got to reduce your commission, get my listing. And without any sort of resistance, I say to you, okay, fine, I'll reduce it by 1%. So instead of, again, 400,000, instead of $12,000 on the listing side, I'm going to do it for 8. Would you be happy? Well, yeah, I'd be happy because you reduce commission. But here's the deal. Later, when I'm negotiating for your money, how do you think I'm going to do? If I gave my 1% up by just because you asked me to, how much quicker am I going to give your money up?
That's a really
It's a
good
huge, it's a, pardon the pun, it's a game changer. Because you're making that person go, whoa, you're right. If you don't think you're strong enough to earn what you're going to get paid, and you immediately go in your pocket and say, okay, here's $4,000. What am I going to do with your $4,000? Right? The second one is, what do you do for a living? Mike says, I'm a project manager. Great. And I guess you're pretty good at it. Yeah, I'm pretty good. And the reason we're selling is because blah, blah, blah. Great. Let me ask you a question, Mike. If I'm your boss and I come to you and I say, Mike, you're the best project manager we got. Right? Well, thanks. Well, no, seriously, you've earned it and you do a great job.
We're going to decrease your income.
No, here's the deal. Exactly. What I'm going to do is we just got a new contract. And since you're our best project manager, I want to lead the team. How would that make you feel? Well, initially, you puff up your chest, so yeah, I feel good about that. The backside, though, is unfortunately, we had to really, sharpen the pencil on this deal. And so you're going to have to do this at a 3% or a third off your pay. Because if you're talking about $12,000, a third off your salary. How would that make you feel? Well, it made me feel terrible. Well, that's what you just asked me to do. You told me I'm the best at it. You think I'm the best to market your house to get it sold. And yet, you want me to do it for less. How am I going to be the best I can be if I'm doing it for less? Those two things right there are just, if you can get it into your own words and be able to communicate it, more times than not, you won't reduce your commission. And I give Bevan, I don't think she's on because she's traveling, but I'll give her credit. She just got a listing where the person wanted to reduce their commission. And she basically said, not only no, but, we're gonna work really hard at this, and she's got Caitlin helping her son, and I've got this person that I'm helping pay to do these things, and we're gonna do a great job for you, and so no. And good for her. I mean, when I saw the listing come in at 6%, I wrote her a note, I emailed her and said, how about you? Good for you. Well, it turns out they made a good decision because she's got multiple contracts on that thing now, Ian's house. And she's got multiple contracts on it. They're gonna get probably more than list price. So, she's made the guy money. She didn't lose the money. She made the guy money because of her, one, her marketing, two, whatever, three, she's got a guy behind her, like myself, that can sit with her for half an hour yesterday, twice, and a half an hour again this morning, working through it to make sure it is done right? And again, not pat myself on the back, that's just reality. She's got somebody who knows what they are doing and been doing it for a long time and can help her make sure that, no, this isn't an as is such and such, it's a this. And her seeing things from a different perspective just because I'm used to looking at these things more than you guys are. So anyway, the point being is those two things. If I'm going to give my money away quickly, how quick can I give yours away? And then two, if I really believe I'm really good at what I do, how would it make you feel if you're being asked to make a pay cut? I mean, it's just very simple. Doesn't take long, but it makes the point as it relates to that. Yeah, and it has to be, and it has to be. Did you find it?
Yes.
Confidence.
Confidence and conviction is convincing. That's what I wrote. And it creates the passion of the spirit.
But there was another one that was.
Great confidence, conviction, and conviction will speak.
Hang on one second, because it's pretty cool. Hang on.
You say confidence and conviction equals.
It's convincing. Confidence and conviction is convincing. Oh, good morning, Alex.
Morning, Alex.
Forgotten your sugar, good.
You're here.
I'm here.
Thank you.
Nobody's sitting here, right?
No.
No, not yet. Great confidence and conviction will speak for itself. Be passionate about this.
So the one that I was thinking of, character refers, confidence reassures.
Yes, that's what
Character refers, confidence reassures. And basically what he was saying was the fact that there are two different things in trust. There's character and there's confidence. And so you doing a pop by and dropping movie tickets off or a magnolia or a chrysanthemum or whatever, that's a character kind of thing. That's showing somebody you care. The confidence is, I'm calling you because I know you know what you're doing. The example he used was an accountant. He went to the accountant to do his taxes, and the guy started trying to ask him, how's the family? And what's it like to live in Ireland? And Kevin's like, why are you asking these questions? I said, are we done yet? Oh yeah, we've been done for 30 minutes, but my boss told me I was supposed to try to get to know you more.
engaged.
And Kevin's like, I don't want you to know me anymore. I want you to get my taxes done. Because again, where was the one that you had confidence? Which section was it?
That was the section on Joe Meager,
Oh, it was in Joe's. All
page
right.
11. Confidence and conviction is convincing.
Yeah, okay. Confidence and conviction is convincing. Confidence and conviction is convincing. So when you exhibit confidence and when you exhibit conviction, then there's a convincing going on the other side of the table. But then I added in, because it's sort of my words going back to what I was talking before, knowledge creates confidence. Confidence brings naturalness. Knowledge creates confidence. Confidence brings naturalness. So the more, just
Confidence brings what?
naturalness. And what I mean by that is, I just shared 2 dialogues with you, Mike, because I've been doing it forever. I didn't have to look at a piece of paper, and hopefully, if I did it, I mean, it was a little bit of role play, but if I did it, it came across naturally. It wasn't contrived or scripted or whatever, right? Because I've done it so many times, I can do it in my terms, I can do it the way I speak, you know, that can. And then the other thing I said, or they said was, who you are speaks loudly when no one else can hear you. Who you are speaks loudly when no one else can hear you. So that goes back to that character thing. If people look at you out in the marketplace as a person of integrity and a person that, you know, gives back, a person blah, blah, it speaks so loudly even if they can't hear your voice. They, you know, it's you know, from a faith standpoint, is, you know, some people say, the way you live your life may be the only Bible somebody ever reads, right? Somebody says, if you say you're a person of faith, they may never open up the Bible, but they look and see what that means by the way that you live your life. And again, you know, the mayor campaign, you know, oh, by the way, if you're buying or selling a home, or had a family or friend, family member who was, do you have a realtor who you refer them to? And they went on to talk about, and I almost raised my hand, but I didn't, because they were putting the microphone right. I think the power after that, when they say, well, no, I don't. You know, everybody had a way of saying, well, let's have a cup of coffee and get together, you know, because I'd like to be that person. But earn the right. Those three words are so powerful. Well, you know, since you don't have anybody, I would like to earn the right to become that person. Can we grab a cup of coffee at some point to talk about, you know, what it means to buy a house, or what it means to sell a house, or just to get to know each other? Because what I want to do is I want to earn the right to become this person that you would be willing to, you know, refer business to. And I just think it changes everything. That earn the right. It's not like, well, I'd like to be that realtor, or you found the guy. You know, I'm going to be that person, or, well, let's have a cup of coffee and see. You know, just earn the right. It has this really powerful aspect that you want to do something for them that makes them want to. It's, you know, it's the walk before you talk the talk, right? You know, I went way off track here, but anyway, but it goes back to the point of what we were talking about in regards to dealing with, you know, commission. That if you have those things in place and can speak of those things convincingly, versus well, I have to talk to my broker, or I have to think, well, as soon as you say that, you're done. You know, you need to be able to just go right at it and say, you know, that's a question everybody asks me, and let's just work through it. The other thing in regards to listing appointment is don't do that, in my opinion. Don't talk about commission. Don't talk about the bottom line as to what I'm going to realize until after you're done. Let me get through my stuff. Because what I want to, again, you can use it here too. What I want to do is I want to earn the right.
So what do you lead with when you want to, you got the guy now, he wants to sit and talk to you.
Are you talking about a listing presentation, or are you talking about just?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Well, the first thing I'm leading with is, you know, tell me why you want to sell your house. You know, again, the three things: build rapport, gain credibility, show people you care. So the first thing I'm doing is build a rapport. If I don't like dogs, I don't care. I'm going to pat the dog. Oh, wow, you've got a German Shepherd, right? You got a German Shepherd. Oh, is he a nice German Shepherd? Well, no, I probably let your hand up. Or, oh, I see your kids play soccer. You know, because they're, you know, they've got the pictures on the walls or whatever. I'm doing it whenever I can to build rapport. I'm trying to find a commonality with me and them.
I understand that, but what do you lead with professionally? What is it the first point you're going to try to instill the credibility or the confidence in?
The value to establish the trust.
Yeah.
I mean,
Value of what you're doing?
the value of the work that I bring to the table as a professional. And I was reading that quote that you said in there yesterday too. You would not have surgery without using a surgeon. To be the qualified, to bring the value of a qualified professional to the table as much as possible can. And that goes along with showing them what are you doing for them to find them a buyer. Not necessarily list the home, but to find them a buyer. And I don't know how Michael approaches that, but I typically try to go ahead and over communicate them, but I show them what I do. So let me tell you what I can do for you.
So again, I still think you're leading with building rapport.
Yeah.
Don't get I don't think people want to just have you sit down and throw up all over. Like they want to have some of the nice chit chat.
I
Personally,
kind of meant though, like you just started to say, you then go into what you're gonna do for them. What are you leading that with? Are you going to, MLS and market the house, you're gonna put it online, you're gonna?
I would literally open up the listing, the
Presentation.
presentation booklet that I bring with
That's
me
exactly
and
what
just
I'm-
start going page by page.
Without reading to them.
so if you go to this, page 3, and I'm a little bit different, you know that, I'm a little bit different. I'm text in the head. No, I personally, some people want to go directly to the table and start talking. I like to walk through the house with people first.
Oh, yeah.
Because so when you say the first step and the professionalism, I say, hey, before we get started, can you just walk me through your house? And I'm gonna have a clipboard or a legal pad or notebook. And they'll say, yeah, that'd be great. Okay, let's just start outside. Well, why do you want to start outside? Because I want you to tour the house from when I get out of my car. And I want you to think about me being a buyer. And I want you to take me through your house, thinking I'm the person that's interested in your house. And then I start walk through, and then we start looking at things, what ends up happening, you know, long story made short, different time period, but all I have to do is look at something. And they'll go, we probably ought to get that squared away, right? Yeah, I would.
They know.
You know,
Or you could just say, hey, when was the last time you noticed that? Or have you noticed that before? And a lot of
And
times, you never.
what ends up happening, you don't even say that, you just look at it. And they go, oh, yeah, you know, that was a leak in the bed, you know, we got it fixed, but we never got the ceiling squared away. Or, you know, there's cobwebs, or there's, you know, dust bunnies, or whatever the case may be, right? Or you're walking up the stairs, and there's a squeak in the stairs, and you hit it, and you stop. And the person goes, hey, I think we should fix it, yeah. And you're just making those notes, right? But you're letting them point them out. You're not doing it. And so, that's when I'm, oh, nice dog. I see, you know, you've got kids, you know, just the nice, what I call the warm fuzzies, right? Finally, I'm going back to the table. And what I lead with, bottom of page 3, is before we get started this afternoon, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, do I have permission to be totally honest with you? Because I want to share some things with you. I feel like I'm here interviewing for a job. And then again, it's just different language, but for me, that's an important thing. You know, I'm not here to give your listing. I'm here to interview for a job. And the job is, you're hiring somebody to market your house to get it sold, right? And because of that, I need to know that I have, you know, permission to be totally honest with you, because I may say some things that, you know, that bother you, that get you, you know, ruffled or whatever. And if I do, I want you to tell me that. But I think the person who's gonna do this job best is the person who's not afraid to tell you the truth and to put you in the best position to get your house marketed and get it sold. So when you see this presentation of CMA, I asked the seller for permission to be totally honest. And then when presenting the CMA, always focus your sellers on the market data you collected, the pricing ranges, the market showing, and so that it shows it's not just your personal opinion. One of the things I liked in the Leading RE Institute thing, and I've pointed to it a couple different times, is this whole aspect of being prepared to show that what you think the competition is, the houses that they're going to compete against, and the buyers in this price range, in this area, these are the houses I'm competing against, active. The properties that have sold, that I think if they'd been on the market at the same time, it would have been competitive. And then the properties that have expired, never sold. And you have those. So when you get to the pricing aspect of things, you're showing them real life, right? And you can do it through the toolkit. Toolkit will give you those, but the point being is you might want to add to it with several. And then as the video showed, which I really like, and good morning, Fiona, good to have you with us. When the video showed, tell me which of these active houses is most like yours. Tell me which sold house is most like yours. Tell me which expired house is most like yours. And what ends up happening is, they think the one that, they were too high on the price. And tell them that versus,
Mostly, as far as I'm seeing it now, it's condition that they can get away with listing at a certain price based off of other comps, but it'll expire just in bad location, a bad condition. You know, a sellable house will eventually drop its price, or the seller will just miss out.
well, but that's the key. You can say it's conditioned, but it's price. Because if they lower the price, then that condition would sell. So because of the condition, they're overpriced. Because of the condition, they price it right and then sell.
So it's
You're
not-
right, so you got one of two things, you either gotta bring the condition up to the price, or you gotta bring the price down to the condition.
I've seen so many listings recently where realtors are basing their price not off the condition, but off of what else is just simply available.
Right.
And, you know, they wonder why it's sitting for 60, 90 days. Right.
So it's making a full circle, by the way, to what you were saying up front about values of homes and stuff and justifying your 3%. Now you got a guy who's, I bet you it's not so uncommon for people to perceive their house more valuable than it is. Right?
Oh,
So this
so
guy's saying, I think so.
Realtors are the worst.
Yeah.
Realtors' house on the market is worse.
That sounds like,
They know.
that's, if I can say that.
Sure.
It seems like a terrible tactic to try to convince the guy, don't worry, I can get you so much more, or something like that, if it's not right up front. But anyway, getting back to my point was, depending on the location, if you have, going full circle, now you talk to somebody about the value of their home and the value of what you're gonna do for them. But then they have a house that's in terrible condition, and they think the value is a lot more than it is. What do you do with that guy?
Ask the seller for permission to be totally honest.
So what I would do with that
Sorry,
guy,
that's what.
what I would do with that guy is say, all right, so Michael, you think your house is worth $350. What do you think the market's telling us? I understand that you think it's worth $350, but by the information I provided for you, what do you think the market is?
I know
Because
that inventory is way down, and it's a real good unit, and, you know, it's got privacy in the back, and it's just, and I think it could go for 350.
so and I understand what you're saying, and that's great. But let's talk about another thing. These properties that I've given you are the same properties that an appraiser is going to use. So if somebody was willing to buy your house for $350 and they're putting 10% down, that means that the loan's going to be $315. If for whatever reason the appraiser, given the same comparables I've given you, says your house is only worth $330, 10% down is $33,000, so $297. Somebody's going to have to make up $20,000. So you might have a buyer who's willing to buy it, but the lender may not be willing to lend it. And so that's what we have to be careful of, is we want to get you a price that you can fully expect that is going to appraise for that, so that you can then go on to do whatever you're going to do. The second part of that is, you say it's in good condition, and yet we've talked about these are things that would probably need to be taken care of before you put in the market, and you said you don't want to do that. So my concern, and you tell me if I'm wrong, my concern is you want the highest value, but you don't want to bring the property to the condition that gives it its high value. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I would have to.
Okay, so what's going to give there, right? And then the second thing is, if they're still just being obstinate, right? Here's what I would say. Honestly, and I did this. I would say, I'm not the right realtor for you. Well, what do you mean? I can't get you $350. You gave me permission to be totally honest with you. I'm being honest with you. I know that it's not going to sell for $350. If you want to list it for $350, you're going to have to go find somebody else. And if it sells at that and closes at that, I'll be the first person to call you and congratulate you. But I can't enthusiastically market this property because I just don't think it's going to sell for that. Now, if you want a realtor that is going to be honest with you and tell you what it's going to sell for, you're going to find a realtor that's going to say, yeah, I'll take it for $350. But I promise you this, Mike, in 30 days, they're going to tell you to lower the price. And in 30 more days, they're going to tell you to lower the price. And guess what's going to happen at the end of 60 days? What's going to happen?
You're gonna eventually sell it, but it's.
No. Yeah, you're going to be below the price I told you to put it on the market for. So if you want to do that, that's fine. I'm going to leave now because, But what I would encourage you to do, hey, Alex, what I encourage you to do is I would say, if you really believe that you can sell a house for 350, then I'm willing to list it with you for 90 days. Is that okay? And they go, what do you mean? I said, well, you think you could sell for 350? Because I've got other people who are telling me it's less than that. And if it doesn't sell in 9 days, I'm gonna go to somebody who was honest with me in the first place.
Haven't we also discussed, depending on the property, of course, letting them list it at a price that you've already talked to them about, and already agreed is a little higher for the month, just so they can see and you can prove to them that it's overpriced, and then having an agreement that after 30 days, it's gonna go to the agreed upon price.
It depends on what the price is that they're starting with.
Right.
Because if 30 days from now, they're still not where it needs to be, yes,
Right.
and a great point. Let's say it's 350, but it needs to be at 330. Hey, I'll cook the spaghetti for you. And we'll throw that spaghetti up on the wall and see if it sticks. But in 30 days, if either we've got a lot of people through it and we haven't gotten a contract, or we got nobody through it and haven't gotten a contract, our price is wrong. So if you're willing tonight, Mike, to sign an agreement, that's a change of status agreement that says on September 22nd, price to be reduced to 330, I will list it at 350. But
rather than walking out, I mean,
Right.
it's just.
And the key then is you're gonna be careful about your marketing. You don't want to spend all this money on the marketing at 350 because you're gonna start all over again at 330. But if you can get something in writing, post-dated, that says that you don't want to say, oh, we'll talk about it at 380. No. I'm not talking about it. We're committing to it. And Alex and I, we've been having this conversation about a listing that he has. That he's beating his head up against the wall, and he's spending way too much time. And these are his words, I'm not saying that, with these people because they're overpriced. And even if they do lower the price, it's still a tough, competitive market. And so I can't be totally honest with somebody, or if they don't trust me enough that I know what I'm doing, as Frank would say, it's better to be the second or third realtor. Because by the time they get to you, they've figured it out. Jenny Barefoot, great example. Third realtor on Redbud. She got it sold. I don't know what happened. I don't know if she got it in better condition. I don't know anything about the pricing. I'm guessing it was lower. But whatever it was, a buyer came and wrote a contract on the house. 2 other realtors had had it. Jenny's the hero. Because she came in and did whatever she's going to do, and she's got a contract on it, right? But she was the third one.
3 realtors this year.
I don't know how long you've been on that, but it's the third realtor for the same listing.
People are very patient with the
Yeah,
realtor.
no, I don't know.
Over the course, it could have been a year.
Right. The point being is she was the third one, and finally, they're one. That's one of the things I love about expired listings. Expired listings, they've already been on the market. They've already know that they need to use a realtor. Now, maybe they might not have good service, or maybe they had great service, but they didn't think they had great service. But for whatever reason, it didn't sell. And so these people are ready to go.
Can I ask about another scenario
Absolutely.
that's sort of like the opposite of that? I recently had a friend assess a house they were selling, came out to like $1.2 million, $1.3 million.
Are they an assessor, I think?
No, they paid to have the house assessed, and it came out to $1 million to $1.3 million, and they listed it. And it wasn't selling at all. And they had a realtor that was, I'm trying to remember the lady's name. Doesn't mention anyway. But they had a realtor that, from what I saw, just observation, didn't seem like she was doing anything. And she was listing it, and that was it. But I didn't see any proactive marketing going on. And every few months, they just kept blowing the spreads. And eventually, they sold the house, but they sold it for like just so significantly less than what it was assessed at in a market that, and the house was gorgeous. In a market that, doesn't have a lot of inventory. And I felt like whoever this realtor was didn't do right by her. Or maybe this is the way these things would go. I don't know. But
So there are 2 things to that.
$20,000 to $1.2 million, it seemed like a giant delta.
You see that all day right now.
So there are two things to that.
I've seen that.
The first thing is, there's a difference between a fee appraisal and a contract appraisal. A fee appraisal is they look around and they take properties and they say, okay, this house is valued at 1.2. But that's not a contract appraisal. Contract appraisal is you've actually got contract in hand and you're making sure that the lender is getting a good, the lender's protected, right? And so, yeah, the appraisal may have been right on the money at 1.2, but it wasn't a market appraisal. It was a point in time appraisal. Whereas the market in that price range is slim to none right now. You've had this conversation as well. We've got 2 or 3 listings maybe more than that, in our company right now that aren't selling. Not because we haven't been intentional and haven't marketed well. It's because there are no buyers. So the only, what do they say, misery loves company, right? The boat that you're in is, well, at least nobody else's are selling, right? At least that makes me feel better. That at least, it's not that I'm not doing that. So an example is a listing where we've done a ton of marketing, but it hadn't sold. Sellers think we haven't done enough. The only thing I can do with those sellers is go back to this again, this market data, and show them that over the last 6 weeks, between 600 and 850, not one house is pending, other than a few new houses. So even if that person didn't do any marketing, it didn't matter because there weren't any buyers there until they got to 850 or 820 or whatever that number was for that particular.
So I guess the message is between 3 and 5 is the big market now, if you can find it, right? And the million and over.
Depends on the location, what the house is.
I mean, the house that Evan just listed is at 695, and they've got 2 contracts on it. Depends on the market and the condition of the house. But you're right, but even that price range, that high 2s to 4 has slowed down. The Rose Hill, Rugby Avenue area that was just on fire, there are things that are staying on the market, right?
Jamie White's sits there on Rugby.
Yeah.
That cute little cottage that I thought would go in a week is still sitting.
Oh, it's
That's
still
months
on.
ago. That's months ago I saw that. And yet two doors down, the damn thing had 3 contracts. They fought over it. He got 50,000 more than he was, that kind of thing. But the house that I've got on, like I was alluding to before.
We're good company, you and I are good company.
Yeah, it's her house in Belvedere, same thing, has a different price range, it's listed at what?
You now get down to 359.
359, but that's a different story. In her situation, she's flat up against brand new.
Totally.
And Southern Development just said to us on Wednesday that they're re-engaged back in Southern Development. So phase 2 is busted. And so everybody comes through and they look at the resale and they go, oh, but I can have this instead of that. And so she's flat down against new home, stuff.
And you've got, how many houses on the market on that street in general? 3?
We're the only one, well, we have
Well,
one.
and
that
one
crosses
sold,
the
one
street for
closed, yeah.
520.
One closed the other day,
One does.
Yeah.
but it's a bigger house.
It's a big one.
It's a completely different price point, like
Yeah.
100, 200,000 more.
Right.
So does that answer your
Yeah.
question?
Ben, you answered a few other questions. Yes, go ahead.
I've seen quite a few properties this year that, like you said, are listed at, $1.2 million, and then they sell for 800. You don't have as many buyers in that, at least right now.
It's an hour.
Yeah, and you guys think about the
Sure.
location of a lot of those properties as being further out from, there's plenty on Rugby and there's other areas that those are listed, but you don't ever see a property in the city drop from 1.2 to 800.
One of the cool things,
This was out in Earlsville.
Yeah, out in the county.
one of the cool things about digital marketing is you can have some real fun watching this kind of thing. And Chris can show you how to do it with your listings as far as Google Analytics. Because you can have a property and you're doing X to it, and then you change the price and you can see the activity.
Oh, totally.
You can see that, that happened, and you can see, I don't understand this stuff, I'm just telling you conceptually, you gotta talk to Chris about, but you can see the folks who are watching it. They were a unique visitor back here, but now they're repeat repeat visitors because they're tracking that property. So using your example, somebody catches this 1.2, says, oh, this is a beautiful house, but man, that seems like more than we want to spend. But we'll put that in as a favorite on Zillow or Realtor.com or whatever. And they track it. So anytime, the guy was saying about it on Wednesday, anytime you make a change to your listing, right, then people get that notification, right? And you can watch it blip with people. And so it's almost like an auction because people are waiting to see if it'll get to the price they want it to get to. But they have to hold their breath to the fact that, well, we're willing to pay, as an example, we're willing to pay 800,000 for this house if it gets there. And then it sells at 820, and they go, oh, dang. It's like a silent auction. You're bidding and bidding, and yeah, I'll bid for that, beach house for $1,000, but I'm not spending more than that. And then you find out it gets, somebody gets it for $1,050, and you go, oh, I would have paid $1,050, right? The other one I liked is there's a clothing store, I don't know if it's still there, but I use this example anyway, called Sims. It's over in Seven Corners in Arlington, and it was a store where you walked in, I guess sort of like Nordstrom Rack. You walk in, and you'll appreciate this and understand this technique, but the current seasonal stuff is at full price. You walk a little farther and you get to the red tag, and that's 10% off. And then the store is basically built on brand new all the way back to going to Goodwill,
Right.
kind of thing. Really, I mean, back and forth. So Dottie or somebody would go into the store and see a dress that they really like, but it's $400, and she would never spend $400. But 2 weeks later, she goes in, and now it's $300. And I guess TJ Maxx and Marshall's kind of the same thing, but different. This is literally intentional, that it creates this sort of auction sort of process for clothes.
I've been there, and they change colors of.
Then you can't find the right size though.
Exactly.
That's what happens, I mean, every time, so I'm waiting them. Yeah.
Where you go in three.
But the point is, digital marketing allows that same thing to happen. You can kind of watch people, and when it gets to a certain price, 820 or whatever it was, somebody said, okay, I'm ready to jump on this house.
It's nice to see the analytics too of like what time of day you posted it and the activity. Like I've started to really play into that. Like you do a Facebook post or an advertisement or something that's not the right time of day, even just on the first day, if you paid to boost it or paid to whatever time of day, you can see that 10 o'clock, 12:30, 5:30 to 7:30.
It's interesting point. I was stunned, when they did this thing on me on I Love Seaville. He posted that on Monday morning, and he said that is the I said because we did it a couple weeks before. He said, well, I'm still working on it, but I'm going to post it on that first Monday in August, whatever it was in the morning, because that's the most active internet time.
Everybody doesn't want to be back at work around the phone.
I guess, but it's really fascinating that I'd never heard that before. I've heard Tuesdays and that kind of thing. But anyway,
But to the point that you were talking about watching the internet activity.
Yeah, the
you can go-
analytics of it all.
You can go on car.
Yeah.
I mean, I can honestly tell you, what I do is before I enter the price, I look at the viewing stats on car, print them out, and then, once I've changed the price, I print them out again 2 or 3 hours later. You can even watch it with me.
and show the seller.
And show the seller,
Oh, yeah.
this is what impact.
That's one of my favorite things to do actually is say, here, this is what my marketing.
And you can't do that with print, right? But that's why we're trying to figure out the balance of that, because you could put the daily progress out on the front porch and a storm could come and get wet and your ad never gets seen. Whereas digitally, you know exactly that it's been seen. You know exactly that there's interest and whatever. And so, and it's kind of like, look, you got 800 people that are following your house and we haven't had one showing. What does that tell you? What does it tell you? It tells you that something's wrong. And interestingly enough, I hadn't thought about this until the other day. It could be your pictures. They've gone on that and they just don't feel good enough about what it looks like. And so switch your pictures around.
It's terrible.
Add shutters to the house. Do something like that. It's even, but most times it's price. It's just price.
Price, you could put one house, 3 pictures.
Right. Well, but I mean, what I'm saying is, what I can't do anything more about the house
There's
than.
not much.
I can't, but I sit down with the client and I say, look, we're at 6:30 now. I want you to go to 599. But if you went to 450, I can't guarantee you can have any more activity than you do now. And they look at me like, what? I said, no, look at this house.
So,
Look at this house.
I've got a meeting I gotta go to, but let me give you a good strategy. Not 450,
No.
but let's say 575 for a minute. You're at 630, 29, 630, or you're at 350.
You're drifting on,
Just like retail. This weekend only. Listed at 325. If you're seller, I'm not saying they are, but if you're seller, and don't say it there, if you're selling, real bottom line is 325, or your seller is real bottom line 560. right? Then if they got a good offer at 560, they take it. Then you say to them, this weekend only, 575, visit the open house, blah, blah, blah. You can change the price on Monday back. But nobody ever does that. Why not?
Why not? I tell
You know, because what happens is it'll tell you if that makes a difference. Or maybe for this week only, and you send a flyer out to them, you do a blast to the agents. This weekend only, this price. And if the activity's there, and if they get that offer, and you know, then it works. And if not, you put it back up on Monday, and the agent says to you, wait, you had it at 325, why did you raise it back? I said, because nobody brought it. We feel like the value is at 350, but we just want to see what would happen. Nobody says you can't do that. But do you ever see anybody do it? Now, here's the objection handling technique.
Is that once you've exposed that price is out there.
But you also got an agreement with your seller that their bottom line, they would accept that. So if somebody comes back at 325 a week later, or 315, you can go back to 325 or 327.5, and then you don't have to accept it. But if your bottom line is 575 or 325, yes, you're right, and that's the point. It's in the history. But good. Next week I get an offer at 335 because that was the bottom line, and the seller's got their house sold and they're moving on. You did your job.
After 3 to 6 months, it's worth the gamble. I mean, I haven't heard of this going through this, but I feel like I could have sold my house.
She's gonna be,
I got 10:30 and 11. So, yeah, but I'll be around.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, thanks, guys.
thank you, Michael.
Wow.
I have to run too.
You talking about
I don't have to run.
I have
I need to
to
go.
go.
Thank you.
I lost my reason I came in, but I've got a the reason I came in is I've got a domino going on right now downtown. Okay, my client has gone under contract to their house with the neighbor. Of course, that is contingent on the neighbor's house selling, which is not coming on until Labor Day. My client has had their eye on this other property downtown that I wrote a contract that we've been horsing around for 3 or 4 months now on. We have agreed on a price. I was told by the listing agent to write up the contract to put it in on Friday. So I wrote up the contract and I put the price, and then I added all the addendums that I need to with 48-hour and 72-hour kick-out clauses and all that nonsense that goes along with a domino situation. So, and I gave it to the listing agent under the assumption that at least we would go under contract. And, you know, we keep the house, the property will stay on the market and they will continue, and we have 72 hours to blah, 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 blah. We all know that situation. So the listing.
Alex, how quick is your question?
Well, you can sit right here. I'm going over it with them.
No, I can't say that, that's, because if it was quick, I would have got it. Okay. All right, you guys solve it for me.
We'll try.
So the agent sends me back an email yesterday and says, here's the situation. It seems to me to be a win-win situation for everybody. And your clients can do their renovations before they move in too. My clients, you know, they see $125,000 to $150,000 worth of renovations. So they says, so the owner of the property that my clients want to buy say, thanks for giving me, he's talking to the listing agent, thanks for giving me a thorough explanation of the situation. It helps me make a decision. If I have completely understood your email, then it seems we are third in line. So if we were to agree to the current offer, then, as you have explained, we could be 4 to 6 months away from closing a sale with the buyers. True. Or it could be a week, it could be a day, it could be, who knows? It could be 4 to 6 months. My client's contract with their neighbor, contingent on the neighbor's house selling, is open and good till the end of the year. That's good. I guess, I haven't seen the actual contract, so I don't know what else is. But anyway, with the owners of this
property that we want to buy, continue with the Arizona court system on my back to make Mrs. Wright financially sustainable. I'm going to have to rent the condo, which will reduce your negative cash flow by $2,200 to $2,300 per month. Try explaining to Alex, and let's see if he can work something out. My idea would be that they, my clients, would pay $2,200 per month as rent to hold off on actually signing the contract. Then they would close on their house and we can work on the purchase. If we can just do a simple month-to-month lease. This way, they don't lose the condo and I stay cool with Arizona expectations. Bottom line is I have to reduce her negative cash flow. Let me know what you think of that idea. I have not gone over this with my clients yet because it's such a frustrating situation until I can wrap my head around any possible options I have to discuss with my client. I don't see where a listing agent of the property we want to buy thinks it's a win-win situation for anybody.
Ambitious.
I think it's the cleanest approach, though. What I can hear from that is the cleanest approach gives everybody, especially that guy, the seller of that home, the option to go ahead and entertain other offers. So the way I look at that is that seller is telling you, see you later, bye.
I'd love to learn how that
Pay
works.
$2,200 month to month.
Yes.
Give me the option, basically what he's offering is an option agreement. Give me the option to go ahead and keep that buyer in the game,
Yes,
right?
right.
Okay. That gives you, buyer, seller client, the opportunity to sell his house at the time that he wants to and also get the best money, right?
I guess, yeah.
Right, so he has cash.
He's,
in hand.
remember, he's already under contract. His house is
So the
already,
so the domino is limited, that's what I'm
Yeah.
trying, I think he's trying to limit the dominoes.
the
Way
third,
over my head, I'm listening, but it's,
Okay, so, we got, you're a buyer, right?
yes,
Okay, you're a buyer, the seller here for the house that he wants to buy.
Right.
We got the neighbor
who is buying,
who's buying this.
right,
Okay. So with what he's offering right now, he's saying, I'm taking charge of this. You are going to rent my house month to month until you sell this one. That takes that domino out of the equation. That's how I look at that.
takes what domino?
This guy buying his house out of the equation. And this guy has a house to move into.
because he has nothing.
But he's not gonna move in here. He wants to do $150,000.
I get that, but it takes this guy.
Out of the, yes,
It's cleaner.
it's cleaner.
The only thing is your client willing to pay $2,200 for something he may or may not get, or may or may not buy?
He probably will only do that if that money comes back to him.
And so that's the option. I think if I'm reading this correctly, or I'm understanding this correctly, he's offering an option for $2,200 towards leasing that particular home. And then I think it needs to be tied back into it, but as you know, obviously Michael too. That $2,200 goes this towards the purchase price. So how is
Yes.
this being,
Right.
how is this being allocated?
But we can't do renovations when we're just renting and we don't
Right,
actually.
right,
own.
that's, no,
No,
yeah.
because
We
you don't
can't
own the
even have,
property.
we can't even have a home inspection.
You can have a home inspection, but you may have to redo the home inspection. You can have a home inspection, and nobody's saying you can't.
Right.
But you may have to, when you do the home inspection for the contract, you're gonna have to redo it again.
Why? If we've already had it while we were listening.
Well, if he's agreeing to what is in the home inspection that he is willing to repeat or address, then you have one out of the thing, but it's always a tricky thing if somebody lives in the home and they're buying it. So what I'm saying,
Yes.
because then you're wasting money, no one wants to.
Right.
I look at, but again, I'm talking
Yeah.
to Michael, but I look at this as an option.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Make sense? No? Draw the three parties out.
Okay, I lost Michael, so I have to continue. The other agent that we've been talking about, it's, okay, yeah, I can keep talking. What more do you want us to say? You want, Yona to repeat what she said?
Oh, is Fiona the other agent?
Yes.
My opinion is,
Wait a minute, here she goes. She's gonna repeat again, Fiona, so,
you got three parties.
okay, I'm gonna leave my phone just the way it is. Okay,
So this is your client,
yes, that's
wants to
my
buy
phone.
that house,
Wants to buy that house.
okay? Also wants to do renovation on that house.
Right,
But he cannot really buy his house until he sells, until the neighbor buys his house,
exactly.
okay? So I look at this as a three-process step. So what he is offering is to go ahead and say, rent my house for $2,200 a month on a month-to-month basis until you sell that house.
Right,
So you're doing an option agreement, in my opinion.
okay,
So please confirm this with Michael, that's how I would do it. You're doing an option agreement stating that once you have sold this house for $2,200, once you have sold this house, we will be going on a contract with him.
right.
And the $2,200 that you're paying him
We'll go into the,
will go into the purchase price, or whatever fund you are setting up or how you determine.
okay,
Does this make sense?
yes, I think so. I mean, I don't know how I would, I'll have to sell it to my client. I don't know how,
If he's willing to do that.
If he's willing to do
He's
that.
showing out $2,200 more.
But he would get that back
He
some
would,
way.
if
Whichever.
the contract comes to fruition and closes, the $2,200 or a portion of the $2,200 will be applied towards the purchase price.
okay,
So the only thing is you need to figure out the details in between. Okay, what are we doing with home inspections? When are we gonna go ahead and make a contract? Because I'm sure this guy doesn't wanna be doing this without a specific time frame, right? I'm sure, when is this house going on, his house going on?
his house?
Yeah.
No, his house is under contract with this. That house is going on the market. I just saw, the owner put on Facebook this morning. That house is going on the market Labor Day weekend.
Perfect, okay, so you got a timeline established.
Yes, Labor Day. I talked to the listing agent for that house and expressed and informed the listing agent. He had no idea what was going on. I informed the listing agent that we've got what the scenario is that we've got going here. So, please don't procrastinate anymore to get that damn house on the market. And so that we can see whether we've got a sale or not got a sale.
Yeah.
And this is a peculiar time of year with expensive properties, and I'm not sure whether that house is going to be an easy sell. It's hard to tell whether it's gonna be an easy sell or not an easy sell.
The location is number one.
The location is a number one location, but they're having problems. He's also the listing of Gabe Silverman's old house on the same street that went under contract, went out of contract, now it's back on the market, and he's going nowhere with it.
Okay, so the market is at the moment.
The market
It's
is
a
at
little
the
hard to
moment.
predict.
It's very hard to predict at the moment.
So, like I said, this is your main focus because that's the client you're representing.
Yes, that's my point.
So I think what he's proposing, and let Michael take a look at it, he's proposing to take that domino out.
Yes,
Let him do the listing, let him sell his house first, before you then proceed with making a contract on the purchase of the new home. At the same time, this guy wants to get this negative cash flow that he's talking about
yes,
out of the way
right,
by saying to your client, if you pay me on a monthly basis to keep me in the game, that helps my negative cash flow, and it helps you with the possibility of having a contract in the near future. So the only thing is you need to figure out what the $2,200 actually, how is this gonna get applied towards the contract?
gotcha.
And what happens if?
And what happens if?
What if he does not? So what if he does not?
I
apply this
I need to present the risks to my client.
Sure.
I have to say the ifs and the and what happens if this doesn't happen, and what's your risk? What happens if that happens, and what's your risk? And blah, blah, blah. He'll be able to figure that out himself, because he's a law professor.
I'm sure you would, but I think that taking out, you wanna limit the risk as much as you can.
to my client, I'm trying to figure out how I can limit that risk.
Take the domino out.
Take that domino out, the neighbor's
Neighbor's
house.
house, yeah. That would be my suggestion.
All right, let me run it by Michael, and,
Yeah, absolutely. One of our minds, see if he has.
you're gonna, and now I'm talking to the listing agent of the property I want to buy. You're gonna put something in, you're gonna send me something, right, Fiona, on, so that I can send to my client, not,
Hey. Yeah. I'm in the car when I get back from Washington.
Are you looking for that? Does Phil wants that?
Oh my God, Zillow is actually on, you know, it's-
what do you mean, marketing what house? Right, they are under contract with it.
There's no point in doing that, just come right back to you.
I don't know what they put in the contract. I haven't seen the contract.
Can we shut this down?
Just close the laptop.